got to be aware of in geography is the global distribution of the world's ecosystems. And you've got three main types. You've got the hot deserts, you've got the deciduous rainforests, and then the tropical rainforest. This particular tropical rainforest is the Amazon rainforest. We're at 13 degrees south of the equator in Peru. And the flora in this environment will be very well adapted to the environment that it's in. And all around the world we find that with plants and animals that the adaptations that they take on is specific to the environment they're in. So in the tropical rainforest, very shady at the bottom layer, very hot and very humid, and the plants will have adapted to that. So in the first layer, we've got 0 to 10 meters, we've got the shrub layer. And all these plants in the shrub layer will have adapted to having lots of shade, because only 1% of the light that comes through from the canopy above down to this environment. So they might get a little bit of sunlight as it dapples through in the day, but really no direct sunlight. So they have to be able to exist in the shade. So not a lot of light, but also in the wet season, it's very, very, very wet. So they've all come up with these ingenious systems where they've got drip tips on the end of their leaves, and they're very, very waxy as well. So the water seems to just run off them and down the drip tips and off. So these plants that exist in the shrub layer between 0 and 10 meters are very well adapted to the environment that it's sat in. Then you've got between 10 and 20 meters, you've got the under canopy, which is the canopy area which is just up the trees. You get a lot of things like bromeliads and lianas that climb their way up, trying to find that light, trying to get up to it. 10 to 20 meters. As you move up between 20 and 30 meters, then you've got the canopy. And this canopy probably is a little bit lower than 20 meters, but it varies on where you go. And in this canopy, that's where most of the life exists. So 50% of all plant life would exist in that part of the area, because that's where they can get most access to the sunlight. And they all want to get up to that sunlight and get any that they can. So above that then, you only get then the emergent trees. And this is a good example of an emergent tree, where the buttress roots that come down off the tree run into the ground, and they can be as high as 5 meters, but they're there to stabilize these big emergent trees, and they only really have proper branches and proper leaves right at the crown, right at the tip, because they don't get any sunlight until they get right up there. And one of the things we've done on this project is gone up through the canopy into an emergent layer and looked down at the canopy below. And you get a real sense of where all the life exists. You get a real sense of how hard it is in these ecosystems, in these environments, for life to exist. But the truth is that it's one of the most biodiverse areas on the entire planet. This particular area, the Manu National Park, is very, very, very biodiverse. So when you come to these places and you study them, those are the kinds of places you can go for. You can look for in the canopy layer for all that wildlife, and you can go right above it and look down towards the canopy below.